This is where he is.
This is where he is, and that's right where it happened.
And this is where I am.
Right where it happened,
behind
right there.
you, my friend. Now, you're not...
1 year after the event, Rob Breddle is returning to the scene of his near-death experience and is about to confront the monstrous predator that almost took his life.
My God!
Come on. Come on, yeah.
So I'm assuming you can't leap from here.
No, leg's too short.
Whoa, Jesus! Sorry about all that.
But that's a snap.
This is Breddle's Wild Farm in Queensland, a wilderness paradise and private wildlife park run by Rob Breddle and his family.
So how long has this water been here?
About 20 years, as far as I can make out. We've been here for just over 10 years. It's 7 acres when it's full, 7 acres of water. A little bit of kakadu in our backyard.
Look at the manifest variety of creatures.
Yes, it's amazing.
Terrific bird life.
Oh, very much so.
Today is Rob's first time back at work since he nearly lost his arm a year ago.
I'm wearing the boots, you'll notice. A pair of good solid Blunson boots.
That won't help you. Yeah.
Boots, just like fear, are something Rob Breddle cast aside long ago. The barefoot bushman is cool as a bush cucumber. He's had too many close encounters.
Matter of fact, one of my crocs got me one day through here, and if I'd have had boots on, he'd have had me.
Oh, really?
He would have had, his teeth would have hooked into the boot,
Oh, that's
where his
awesome.
tooth went straight through there and just let me go, you know. So if I'd had boots on that day, I'd have one leg missing and I'd have one arm.
Well, I thought I was good with my steel cap.
Won't help you.
Have you always been the barefoot bushman?
Yeah. Yeah, we invented it.
Since childhood?
Pretty well. We used to wear shoes to go to school, but other than that, we didn't wear shoes too often. And we went bush a lot with the old man because he was out chasing snakes and stuff, like King Browns lived in the desert.
The Breddle family have worked with dangerous animals for 3 generations. Rob's dad, Joseph, collected snakes. And his childhood home in South Australia was more like a menagerie.
We had just about everything because back then nothing was protected. The old man went down south, brought back a penguin, we had a penguin. I loved eagles. I had a pet wedge-tailed eagle that I could sit on my arm. Didn't like some people, he'd get up on, but other than that, I was good with him, yeah.
Tell me about your relationship with the crocodile, the most ferocious creature, I think, in this nation.
Yeah, well, on the planet almost, you could say. My dad got one when I was 9, and we believed everything we'd heard about them, and we created a monster out of him.
What size was he when you got him?
4 foot. And the funny thing about it, when the old man brought it home from Queensland in 1959, he had nowhere to put it, no heating, nothing. So Mum had to cook. She had a wood stove. There was a box with a taipan in it, and blocked off either side, and the crocodile was laying between her and the stove in the kitchen. She had to cook over a taipan and a crocodile.
In the 70s, Rob and his dad set up a farm in the Gulf of Carpentaria and caught crocodiles with the locals. He took to filmmaking and soon became an international documentary star, the Barefoot Bushman.
If you do get attacked, always keep a tree between you and the crocodile. The crocodile.
Better known overseas as a mad Aussie riding crocodiles.
This reptilian beast that lives in tropical waterways often strikes fear into people's hearts.
Whoa, Jesus! I'm sorry about all that.
But that's a snap.
But last year, just after one of his live shows at Breddle's Wild Farm, Rob made a near-fatal error with this 4.5 metre croc named Tripod.
Now, if that actually snaps on you, and he didn't snap when he bit me, he just grabbed me.
Oh, God! Bloody hell, do that again. Oh. What went wrong
What went wrong the other time, he was up a bit higher than that, and I went like that, and he actually got a piece of meat between the 2 teeth on the bottom.
Yes.
And normally I'd close his eyes or just flick it out with a piece, and for that day I went down and just went to flick it, but I didn't close his eyes, yeah.
Well, that's what you call a brain fart.
That's what I call a brain fart.
Because that was the most stupid thing you could do.
Oh, definitely. Listen to this.
Oh, that's a pig's head.
Yep. That's what my hands sound like when crunch. Yeah.
He still doesn't really know why he used his hand to floss a piece of meat stuck in the crocodile's teeth.
They just had just a brain fart.
In nature, of course, one mistake.
Oh, yeah.
That's it.
He just bit through my hand. Of course, whoops, I knew what happened then. And I knew that they go for another bite. And when he goes for the next bite, I was going to take it out, but I think those two teeth that went through the bottom were hooked in too tight.
Yes.
So when I pulled back, I must have pulled against them and didn't get it out. And he lunged forward and he got me higher. And then he started to back off into the water. Now, he's 650 kilos, I'm only 80, so I ain't going to win a tug of war.
No.
Lucky for Rob, his capable and laconic nephew Zeb, who was also an experienced croc man-minder, was in the enclosure.
I thought, geez, we're in a bad situation here. He backed into the water when he had hold of him on the hand. And then Robert started to panic because if we end up in there, we're in big trouble. And he actually pulled on it a bit, and then that's when he rolled on his hand.
What do you mean rolled in his hand?
Did the so-called death roll.
Then he just went into the roll, and as he went to the roll, I heard it. I could see 4 teeth through the top, 2 through the bottom there, and I could see my hand. I was actually looking, I could see the hand starting to tear off. Second time around, I thought if he goes the third time, that's in my brain, I've lost my hand. So I in my mind, I went to roll with him. And somehow that puts me over his head, and then I must have been in a bit of shock. He lets go. I don't even know he lets go. Next thing I look, I just see this big head come over and bite on my leg, and I said to myself, I thought, expletive, you know, this is not good. And then he lets go. Zeb had actually had his big stick in, he shoved it down his throat.
I think he was actually thinking he was fighting another male crocodile. And when he come back in for that second bite, it gave me time. I actually jammed the stick down his throat. And when he come in, he just bit Robert just on the leg, just touched him and then let him go. I actually pushed him off, and then it gave me time to grab onto Robert there and help him to get up out of the water. Because we ended up in the pond there with him.
Zeb grabs me and pulls me up, and I walk out.
Well done, Zeb.
Well done, Zeb. Yeah, that's what I got him for.
A popular conservationist known as the Barefoot Bushman has been attacked by a crocodile at his wildlife farm in North Queensland.
Suffering severe damage to his left hand, puncture wounds to his lower right leg.
The photos are gruesome, but this is about nature in the raw. And such an attack usually ends in death for the crocodile's prey.
And Robert was real lucky. I thought there that he had made an error that it was going to cost him his life. And we're just lucky enough to get him out of there.
Coming up, saving the Barefoot Bushman's hand.
She's nearly as sore as it was when it happened.
And is this croc-riding cowboy ready to get back in the saddle?
Are you getting back on the crocodile?
Come on, yes.
That's next on 60 Minutes. It's 1 year since Rob Breddle's near-fatal tug-of-war with the crocodile named Tripod. The Bushman has been in and out of hospital under the care of Brisbane orthopaedic surgeon Dr. Paul McIntyre.
Morning, Rob.
There you go.
How you feeling?
Oh, not too bad.
So,
She's nearly as sore as it was when it happened. Don't know what you did to me.
Rebuilding Rob's hand has been a medical triumph. The croc roll dislocated every bone in his wrist.
there's still a little bit of work to be done in terms of fixing some fractures there. But he had a very, very unstable wrist.
He underwent 12 surgeries with infection a constant danger. If the croc doesn't get you, the bugs will.
He needed a lot of washouts to get ahead of the infection. He grew a lot of unusual organisms in his wrist. And
Now, these come with the crocodile's mouth, do they?
they come in the crocodile's mouth and the fresh water and the farm environment that the injury occurred in.
Did you give him any life advice after that?
He should probably avoid sitting on his crocodiles, but I don't think that's going to change.
Yeah, I'm just bloody glad to have the bloody hand, I can tell you, mate. I reckon you've done a bloody good job here, and when I go fishing, I hope you can come up to my place and I'll cook you a feed of fish.
That'd be nice.
You've never had before.
Rob runs Breddle's Wild Farm with his sister-in-law Cherie and nephew Daniel. His family know crocodiles just as well as Rob does, and they know the rules, so Dan and Cherie are hard markers when it comes to what happened that day.
Who's to blame, him or the crocodile?
Him.
They chorused. You've no doubt about answering that.
There's rules they've got to follow, and if the boys had done that, he would have said to the boys, hey, don't do that, you'll get bitten. And I went to Rob and I said, what the heck have you done? That's all I said.
That's family talking. And in terms of the family business, is this good publicity or bad?
Oh, we got busier after it.
Isn't that the truth?
Yeah, we did get, everyone was curious, but it's just an accident, you know.
Were you pretty shocked?
Yeah. It shocked me more than what I thought it would.
You got a 15-foot croc, you know. Now I can actually move it up and down, and you know I can get a little bit of that. It was all smashed in here, right? That was gone down to there. That was all hanging on there. That was all was hanging on.
After all Rob has been through, there's one more thing to do today. Getting back on the croc. The time has come.
I would be enjoying this more, Rob, if I didn't know what you're about to do.
All right.
That you're getting back on the crocodile, as it were. You fall off, you get back.
Get back, that's right.
Let's go and get this thing
Yeah,
over.
let's get it over and done with.
Come on, yes. Come on, yes.
The croc's name is Brian. Doesn't sound too fearsome, but this time I'm staying in the truck.
Come on.
Come on, up you come. You come say hello to Charlie, eh?
Oh, yeah, don't
Come on,
worry.
up you come. Come on, you can have it now, come on.
For the barefoot bushman, getting back in the saddle is done with such ease, it's almost an anticlimax. Thank goodness.
And I can jump on here. This is a safe spot.
How do you know that's a safe spot?
Oh, you don't want to know that story, but anyway. When they get about 12 foot long, they can't get their back leg anymore. So I learnt from that there's a safe spot with a big croc.
It's a fairly small brain, doesn't it?
I can get away with what I do with these creatures because they are so instinctive. As in, they're almost totally predictable.
Hardwired.
Yes, very much so. Now, I'll get him to wave ta-da to you, watch. Wave ta-da to the nice man. Go on, yeah, wave ta-da, go on. Yeah. So I can teach crocs, wave ta-da. He's got a ticklish spot here. So you can say, tickle him and let him go.
Jeez. Don't do
Come on,
that.
round you come on. But as you can see where I'm sitting there, he cannot reach me.
Right.
So I'm quite safe. As long as you don't fall off into his head, you know. And they don't use their tail as a weapon. It's not used as a weapon at all. Strictly used for swimming.
The simple trick, apparently, to wildlife showmanship is to scare the punters without scaring yourself.
So, Rob, am I right to conclude that you getting back on the crocodile again today is not as dangerous as it actually looks?
No, it's not as dangerous as it looks. I've fed hundreds of thousands and done literally thousands of shows just like this one here. And I got this, but like I said, I had a brain fart that day.
Were you proud of him today when he went back?
Oh, yeah, it's good. Yeah, it's really good.
I knew he'd be all right because the boys were there, and I knew if he went too close or did something wrong, they would say, hey, move back, do this, you know.
I mean, you can see his hand, he's having a little bit of trouble holding the stick and all that type, which would take time, you know. It's only very early days with that hand, so it's the state of what it was in to what it is now, it's modern hospitals, eh? I reckon 5-10 years ago it would have been a hook. Then we would have had to rename the croc TikTok.
It's called a Breddle's python. It's named after the family.
I spent an amazing day in the barefoot bushman's wildlife paradise with a man who loves to show off nature and at the same time knows it intimately and practically. From the birds of the air to tiny creatures cloaked in invisibility. He even speared lunch with his repaired hand.
Oh, that's good. Well done. I'll have the big one.
Day with the barefoot bushman is a day of eye-opening animal encounters, both delightful
Whoa, Jesus.
and frightening.
Sorry about all that. So, despite my apprehension, I think you actually enjoyed it.
Oh, I always enjoyed playing with crocodiles.
I wonder, would you have been tasty as far as he was concerned?
I don't think I am. I've been spat out that many times. Sorry, it tastes like crap, you know.
You're indestructible.
No, not really.
Well, what will get you in the end?
I don't know. Old age, hopefully.
Hello, I'm Charles Wooley. Thanks for watching. To keep up with the latest from 60 Minutes Australia, make sure you subscribe to our channel. You can also download the 9Now app for full episodes and other exclusive 60 Minutes content.